Oh, well, you can see by the black screen, screen. Dickhead, speak English! You can tell by the black screen, you know what time it's for. Shit talking time. Now, if you live in Australia, you would have seen all over social media and the news and that there are these sexual predators PDF files causing trouble in childcare centres of late. You've got this one guy done something to, I think, over 70 kids. Just fucking horrendous. I don't know exactly what he done. I think it's something to do with you know what he's. I don't know what to say. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to say what it is because I'm sick of dancing around the fucking algorithm. Basically, he put cum in kids' foods, I think, and it affected like 70 kids. And I think the guy's got some kind of STD, so the kids have caught it, fortunately. Um, yeah, so he's a scum piece of shit and all that stuff. But for people like that are guilty, I remember watching documentaries on this shit years ago. These people cannot be reformed. They just can't be reformed. What's this notification? Piss off. Piss off. I'm making a video. I don't want notifications. Yeah, these people that are into that kind of things what do they call it? There's just the LGBT alphabet community have made up that notifications. Fuck off. Yeah, the LGBT have actually a flag for them. It's like minor attracted people or something. They actually don't see them as scumbags. They see them as just that's what they're attracted to or something, which is absolutely a joke. But these people here, I think only very few of them have been released, and from what I'm led to believe, every single one of them reoffends. Every one of them, given the opportunity, will reoffend. It's not something that can be rehabilitated or trained out of you. And I think it was a Theroux, or whatever it is, Louis Theroux documentary. They've got like these big institutes, jails, and it kind of resembles like a basic outdoor lifestyle. When I say outdoor, I mean like out of prison lifestyle, where they've got their rooms and they've got this big common room they can all interact with. Then they've got like this promenade of like shops and cafes and things like that. It's basically to give them a life as close to the outside world as possible. And they can all have jobs, like they can get up and one can work in the cafe, one can work in the library, in the one can work in the grocery store. They've got all that kind of stuff. And yeah, they've got this one female guard or whatever there that's like she's about 40 odd, but she's only about 4'8". And they keep on saying, "Oh, she's a plant to see if we go for her and all that stuff." And then they were saying, "Oh, we're not interested, we know what we're into, we're really not interested in her and all that shit." But that's basically what they kind of give them as an alternative to never being released because they just cannot be released. I'm sure there's been the odd exception of one or two that have been released and have never caused any grief or drama again, but most of them, they they just can't be released. It's just not a risk that's willing to be taken. So I think for them people, if you're caught doing something like that to a kid, it's basically got to be you're up against the wall and you get a bullet because you just can't be rehabilitated. Like you're a murderer or whatever, yeah, you can make bad mistakes, be rehabilitated and all that stuff. Like even like a rapist, an adult that rapes adult women, they can be rehabilitated. It seems, but the minor attracted people cannot be rehabilitated. So that's what's going on in Australia. It's on every channel everywhere. And then now there's a big call to ban all men from early childhood education. Because of course there is, because we're an extreme left feminist country here, especially here in Victoria, in Melbourne. I'm not in Melbourne, I'm about 2 hours southeast of it, of the big city, but yeah, it's Australia in general is a very left. It's basically New California. Australia is New California. So there's massive calls to ban guys. I don't think it'll ever go through, because if that goes through, that's absolute fucking bullshit. Because guys can do a lot of good, especially because like 90% of the kids getting dropped off there are from single mums. So having a guy around is beneficial. And me personally, I noticed the benefits of this when I was about, what would I have been about? I've done this. There's a scheme like it for Australian welfare when you're younger. I would have been about, oh fuck me raw, probably about 17 or 18 or something like that. And I'd done this. It's called Work for the Dole. So I've done that 2 or 3 days a week, and I was doing this at a primary school. So it's basically kids like after their kindergarten. I don't know what it'd be, maybe five to like 12, 5 to 13 or something. Was it older? I don't know. Yeah, they're 6 years, so yeah, probably about 6 to 12 or whatever it is. You're about 12 or 13 when you start high school. And I was doing like construction stuff there, building seats and little plant beds, fixing up old rooms, things like that. Just ripping up carpets, just basically renovation, construction, building, digging, stuff like that. And I just noticed that, like, as a guy, I just thought, oh, kids are curious, so they were told not to hang around, but they'd hang around anyway, these kids, and so they'd hang around and watch us do work. I was there with this other guy. This other guy would have been probably in his 50s, early 60s. He wanted nothing to do with the kids or whatever, just didn't give a shit about that. But I'd like talk to them a bit. They'd ask me, "Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And the other guy would just say, "Oh, don't just go and play, just play." I'd tell them what I was on. Oh, yeah, we're building some seats for you to sit on. Or we're building, a drinking fountain, or we're building something. And then they'd ask about all the tools, and I was like more than happy to let them, and I let them hold some of the tools, not the power tools or sharp tools like saws, but like a crowbar or a hammer or a screw. So I say, "This is a screwdriver. Do you know the different types?" "Oh no, what are the types?" "There's a flathead and there's a, and then they'd pass it around, and I was interacting with them a bit. I was thinking, "Oh, should I be even doing this? Am I allowed?" And um, but yeah, I can't remember. It was ages ago. I just remember snippets of it, but oh, basically, at the end of the day, the teachers and the principals and that loved what I was doing, like interacting with the kids, and they kept on saying, "Oh, are they bothering you? Are they annoying?" I said, "No, they are. They're fine." And I'd even let them help while we were, not that they were actually doing anything, helping. I was digging this like little patch of basically just grass-free mud. Well, it was just this muddy area. We had to dig down and then put in all the aggregate stuff and all the sands and that, so we could build something there. And all the kids were just watching me do it. I had 2 or 3 little small, like half-length shovels and a couple of little crowbar things to like really getting the tough stuff out. So I had about 4 or 5 of the kids all taking turns in having a go and digging around and trying to just make the ground level. They were basically making no difference whatsoever to it. They were just giving them something to do. And yes, I quite enjoyed, you know, being like a masculine figure in these kids' lives. And I know a lot of them had single mums and all that stuff because I can't remember exactly what it was, but one thing was a little bit heartbreaking because there was this boy, young kid, I don't know how old, maybe 7 or 8 or something, that hang around, and he just kept on asking all these questions that I couldn't answer. I don't know exactly what it was, but I remember saying, I just said, listen, buddy, mate, I'm not the right person to ask him. Why don't you go home and ask your dad about that?" And he was saying, "Oh, I don't have a daddy. It's just me and mum. My dad done something or when I was younger, and I haven't seen him and all this stuff." And it was a bit heartbreaking and that. So I was just glad that I could, you know, have like, it was mainly boys. A few girls were hanging around, but it was mainly boys, of course, because as we all know, boys and men are interested in things. Women are more interested in people, girls and that. So I had a lot of boys hanging around curious about tools and what men do when they're older for work. So I was, that's pretty much the only interaction I think they had outside of maybe the odd male teacher. I was saying, "Oh, yeah, this is these are screwdrivers. If you want to screw something in, if a door hinge gets a bit loose, you get one of these, and if you turn it right, it tightens it, left loosens. And remember this one, kids, righty tighty, lefty loosey. See how it rhymes?" And I was basically a teacher for them, and it was yeah, I got a lot of fulfillment out of it. It was crazy because like week after week there'd be more of them hanging around what we were doing than actually going and kicking the footy because they were just interested in just learning. I don't know what it is. I've always been a bit of a natural kid magnet. If I was a certain way inclined, it'd be easy for me to do it, which I'm not. But like I've always thought maybe I could do some kind of teaching or like mentoring for kids and that. But in today's climate, I wouldn't even dare think about getting a job in that industry because how men are seen and treated. So yeah, I just remember that more and more kids, there'd maybe be a group of about 10 to 15 they'd come up in their playtime and lunchtime, and I'd always have something like menial, something meaningless and menial for them to kind of do to make them feel important, feel special, like they're helping out. "Oh yeah, I'm doing this today. I'm digging this hole. See if you can dig just a little bit, just a couple of centimeters. Oh, what's a centimeter? Oh, well, you see this measuring tape?" And then I'd get them to measure this. "Oh, I'm going to cut this. Can you measure it till it says, 1 meter? Do you know what a meter is here?" Or I just have, and I'd say, "Okay, you can organise these wrenches in lowest to the smallest to biggest," and they'd be wrapped, and they'd tell them. I'd always make sure to tell them that they were doing a fantastic job and all that, and they'd just be wrapped. And I think just hearing that from a man, especially when you're a little kid, a little boy, kind of makes them feel like a man. They feel like they're contributing and doing something, which is very important, I think, for a young boy, and they miss that with the single mum households that are out there. And then I'd done that for probably about 2 or 3 months, and then I remember that's when I think I got my first job at the power stations when I started earning the big money. And I remember that the principal, the head principal of the school, kind of called me in once he heard that I was going. And I thought I was in trouble for something. Like, "Oh, fuck, what have I done?" And maybe if, one of the kids have gotten hurt or something. And with a tool, I thought, "Oh, shit, I'm in trouble here." But it wasn't that early. He was just saying, "Oh, I'm sorry to see you go. What's happened and what's happened? Aren't you happy here anymore?" So I said, "No, I'm just sorry. I just got a job. I can't not knock it back. It's about 140 odd bucks an hour job. I just can't knock it back." And then he was like, "Oh, if you you think you can maybe fit in 1 day a week to come here? I said, no, I don't think I can. They're 12-hour days, 6 days a week. And all that. And he said, oh, make sure, like if that job ever ends, you can come back here anytime and all this stuff. The kids love you, the parents, other teachers love you. And uh, yeah, it was quite fulfilling, doing that. I didn't end up going back or anything like that. But it's definitely something that we don't need. Yes, there are bad eggs, there's bad men, and of course, them jobs attract them kind of men. But what they're not talking about on all these TV shows is all the bad women that are doing that kind of work. What is the number one gender for infanticide? Women. A lot of women kill their kids more than men do. And there's also a lot of women that neglect and hurt and assault and whatever the kids. But no one gives a shit about that. But when a guy does it, it's like all men are to blame. You've got to ban men from it. And it's like you can't do that to kids because sometimes it's the only exposure to masculinity that they have. And it'd just be wrong to do it. Now, that's what's been pissing me off the last few days is all that stuff. Like, yeah, the guys that do it, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, they should be against the wall, first against the wall with the bullet to the head. No jail because they can't be rehabilitated. And in jail, they just get killed anyway. The other inmates just beat the living fucking shit out of them until they're dead. Yeah, it's just I don't know what they can do to stop it because unfortunately, them kind of jobs are just magnets for the people that are into doing that kind of stuff. No matter if you're a bloke or a Sheila. If you're Yankee, listen to this. Bloke means man, Sheila means woman. I don't really know what the answer is, but it's not Dan and all men. And if that happens, I'll be really, really pissed off. Yeah, what else has been happening? Not much, really. I just really wanted to say that. Just make a little bit of a vlog. My thoughts. Just this is probably what this channel's going to be from now on. I'm not really interested in making any more. Like if anything, like with the manosphere content stuff, I might make just one huge video with everything I've learned and everything I know, instead of making like the 20-minute videos. Oh yeah, there's Briffault's law, there's hypergamy, there's this, there's that, there's mate switching hypothesis, right? Now all the different things. I might just make one massive 3 to 4 hour long informative video with chapters in it, and then just leave that on the channel, and then just continue just doing probably just gaming and vlogs, talking about stuff. Maybe the odd PUA cringe thing. But until I get like new channels sorted out, which will probably be a while, it'll probably won't even be this year. It'll probably more so the start of next year or the end of this year, because I really want to wait till like the end of. It'll probably be in December when the end of the work year for me is kind of over, where I can change numbers and just and I don't have to tell every single person I affiliate myself with for work, friends, sports clubs, and things like that. It's just a nightmare. I know it's not that hard, but it's a nightmare changing numbers. So couldn't be fucked in. So I'll just stick to this. This will also give me more experience, more practice making videos. I'll probably start getting into making thumbnails and like editing thumbnails and things. So when I do get the other channels, I'll get more attraction, I'll get more initial clicks. That's what it's all about, getting the clicks, attracting. You've got to attract the algorithm, because the algorithm wants to push forward channels that can make them money. There's a lot of great channels out there, they get no exposure because YouTube would rather show them a channel that they can shove 3 or 4 ads down your throat in, other than mine where there's no ads, just content. So you got to play the algorithm. You've got to release consistent videos, same time, same day, same week, so the algorithm will pick it up and think, oh, this guy's pretty consistent. This might be someone we can push and then eventually ask to monetize, and we can sell advertising in his video. That's what they're caring about. I believe the statistics are only 4% of however many YouTube channels are out there are monetized. 4%. So that's like 96% of channels are just like mine, little 2-bit channels that have probably got great content on them, entertaining, informative, all that stuff. But they get bugger all airplay because they'd rather push monetized channels that they can make money off. YouTube is a business first and foremost, and the number one purpose of a business is to make money. Everything else is secondary. So yeah, fuck all else has really happened to me in the last week or so since I've last made one of these little things. So I'll leave this one here. You should be getting another Terminator Resistance video soon if you like that thing. That's another thing too. I noticed one of the Terminator. Fuck, speak English, dickhead. Terminator. One of the Terminator videos has got like 160 views, and the rest of them have got like 5, 10, 15 views. And it's not even the first one. It's like episode number 5. So I just can't work it out why that one got picked up, but the other one didn't. I just don't understand it, how these little things work, how some videos go not viral, but how some videos get picked up and get hundreds of views and some get nothing. And the ones that's weird, because the ones I think I put the most thought, effort, time into preparing get fuck all views. Like when I was doing all the evolutionary psychology, why can't you find a date, what do women want type things. And I'd spend, 5 or 6 hours compiling the photos, the data, the Wikipedia stuff, all the information to make it. I might get 20, 25 views, but I'll just do a quick 20-minute. I'll just find, oh yeah, that PUA thing. I'll do, like I might do a PUA cringe video. I'll just look up the first thing I find, record it, no editing, no nothing, 300 views. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. It's a complaint, but not a complaint. I'm happy for anyone that listens and gets something out of it, but it's just like, it's really weird. You think that the things, it's not just YouTube, it's just life. You think that the things that you put the most effort and time into will be what has the biggest payoffs and will give you like the biggest chunk of validation from, but it's not the case, or not always the case anyway. Just goes to show you just can't predict it. Just chaos theory, isn't it? You just can't predict it. Anyway, I thank you very much for listening. I'm going to go get a drink because I'm thirsty. And I'll see you next time.